What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Game Day Experience brought to you by U.S. Club Lacrosse. It's your boy, Lax Guy Scotty, and I'm here today in Naples, Florida at the PLC. We're talking about the Pinnacle Lacrosse Championships. Now, at this event, we don't just have a high level of talent. We also have a high level of college coaches here. We also have a high level of vendors at the Vendor Village. That's also a very important thing here. But the most important thing we got here is great lacrosse here. So let's start off with our first game, which is IMG versus True National Green here. IMG, we're talking about the 26s here. And as soon as I pulled up to this game, I saw a familiar face, and that is George Caldroni here, of course, with the BTB. Now, I saw plenty of BTBs today, but you guys at this age just make BTBs look way too easy, because I'm going to tell you this. When I was that age, I was not throwing any BTBs like that. True National tried to stick into this game and did a good job in doing so, but IMG just showed how aggressive they are with that takeaway and a nice little finish right here from the man again in Caldroni. IMG also played a little bit of defense here with a nice save from the goalie, but True National Green did not let that stop them, getting a nice little quick finish right here. The ball moves faster than your feet do, and True National trying to take advantage of that situation, but IMG Academy proves to be a little too much here. That finish right there was an and one. Okay, you've got to scream after that and one. True National doing what they can do, but IMG ends up taking away that game 6-5 versus True National Green. Now, at this event, we had so many college coaches here, and one college coach stuck out to me particularly, and that is Nat St. Laurent. Nat St. Laurent is the coach of the California Redwoods in the PLL, and he's also the coach of Ohio Northern University. Me and Nat, close friends already, and I knew I had to get the chance to interview him. What a guy he is. Check out our interview right here. All right, guys, I'm here with the Nat St. Laurent, coach of the Ohio Northern University and coach of the California Redwoods. Coach, how we doing today?
I'm living. I'm happy to be here. Excited. Sun's out. It's not snowing. Let's go.
Sun's out. Guns out. I'm happy to have you.
Put those away, will you? Somebody's going to get hurt.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. Don't break your necks trying to look at me, though. All right. Well, Coach, I'm happy to have you here. We're always keeping in contact and everything. Now, I'm happy to get to know you a little bit better here. Now, I was listening to a podcast about you before we got here, and you're from Carthage, New York, and you played with the Powells, but somebody else made you fall in love with the game. Who was that guy?
Oh, well, Jason Kaufman is my all-time favorite player. That's where so I just my brothers played with Jason Kaufman, played football. Jason was an incredible football player. And I remember when he picked up a lacrosse stick, Coach Venaquatro is my hero. And he let myself, Josh Kaufman, a couple other guys be ball boys. And just remember watching Jason Kaufman play. And, he's my all-time favorite player. He's just the way he was with the stick, the way he played the game, the way he did everything. It was just so much fun to watch, and just fell in love watching him play.
Now, speaking of your Carthage experience, you had like an interesting role there at Carthage, right?
Yeah.
What was your role when you were playing in high school ball?
I think it was just I was an athlete. I think, I'd play midfield, I would play attack, three-sport athlete. So I joke with everybody and say that those players were good because of me, but that's the furthest thing from the truth. They probably didn't deserve to be on the field with some of those guys. But, like I said, my story there, it's not quite as glamorous as most people would think, in terms of just being able to play with those guys was incredible, being around the sport. But, like being the only black kid that was playing at the time, and, I think it's documented my story there about stepping away from the game and then having the guys like the Powells encourage you to come back and play. That's probably one of the more special moments of my life. Just being able to get embraced by the town of Carthage and some of the people that played the game that I looked up to, that's what really kept me going, kept me fired up to play the game.
So you bring up an interesting point about being the only black kid playing a white sport. Now, how old were you when you realized you were different from the rest? Because I know I didn't think about this until I really got into high school.
Yeah, I never really did. I loved the game so much, like just being a football, basketball, being around sports your whole life. I loved it. I never thought about it. And then, one day, one of the things that we used to do was the varsity JV and modified team. Coach Venaquatro, who's an incredible leader, incredible human, somebody that without him I wouldn't be where I am today, but he would have all of the teams to grow the game, right, to grow the sport, and to build the program that he built. We would all come together, and the modified guys would warm up and stretch and play catch with the varsity guys. And I think it really started hitting me when a comment was made like, hey, this sport's, your people don't play this sport. You need to stick to football and basketball. And I remember looking around the field going, oh, yeah, I'm actually the only person of color on the field right now. And I think that's when it hit me, to be honest with you. And, I stepped away from the game for a little while. I think just how much I love the game, and to hear that comment, it was pretty crushing. But, told my older brother about it, and got some encouragement from people. And, I remember specifically Casey Powell really influencing me and, encouraging me to play the game and stick with it and come back to playing. And I just wanted to be around those guys, like those guys. So I think that's when it hit me originally. I hadn't thought about it. I just loved, how do you not love this game?
Yeah.
You don't think about it until somebody makes it a point, and then you're like, wow. And I think that's something that, as I've gotten older in this game, I've tried to recognize more and educate people and try to help and support, because, I've got a 10-year-old son. I don't want him to hear those words and be discouraged from playing this game. And it's come a long way. I'm old. I'm old, man.
Yeah. I always reminisce on my high school sports days. But serious question for you.
Yep.
If you and I were to get in a three-point stance right now, head-to-head, how do you think that's going to end up?
3-point stance, out in space, I got you. All right, you get me in space, it's a wrap. The 3-point stance, I didn't get in a 3-point stance very often, so you might get me there. But I'm smart enough to know low man wins.
Yeah, low man wins. I'm just trying to get some confidence over here.
Yeah,
right
well,
now.
my guns are covered up, so you got them out. So there you go.
All right, let's be real here, guys. Me versus Nat in Oklahoma, you guys know who's taking it home, right? We're talking about a 6'5", built guy, and Mr. Royster over here. I'm just kidding. Your boy's only 6 foot, but I would still take Nat down in Oklahoma. But if you need somebody to support, or there's no better person to support than Nat St. Laurent, because he's a great guy on and off the field, and I've been supporting the California Redwoods for I don't know how long, and now I'm a fan of Ohio Northern University. Now let's get into some more lacrosse highlights here with the 26 AA bracket with Unreal National versus Team Georgia here. Got to check out this one here. Boys were playing hard in this one here with Team Unreal National moving the ball, getting some buckets here early. But Team Georgia also won in this game. This one was close all the way through. These kids over here just know how to play some lacrosse here. It's super impressive how good these kids are when we watch them play, because regardless of the age group, they're better at than what I was when I was that age. I'm just super jealous of these kids here. But in this game, in the AA bracket, Unreal National ended up taking this one away 7-6 versus Team Georgia. Now, in the lacrosse world, the people who are at the top is Notre Dame University. And lucky enough, Notre Dame is here at this event, and I got the pleasure to talk to Ryan Wellner, who is a coach at Notre Dame. He's a great guy with a great story, one of the most social people I've ever met, and I'm happy enough to have gotten the time to chat with him about what it's like being at Notre Dame. Check it out. All right, guys, I'm here with Coach Ryan Wellner of Notre Dame. Coach, thanks for joining us today. How are we doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me. What a day.
What a day. We're in beautiful Florida. It's like 72 and sunny out here today.
It's amazing, honestly.
Now, I love your story, right? Because it goes from you way back when being a bartender,
That's right.
right, and now being a coach at Notre Dame. So take us back to those times to when you were a bartender. Like how did that all start?
How did that all start? So when I graduated from college, I went over to England. I worked for the English Lacrosse Association for a year. I was in a little town called Reading, right outside of London, and kind of got the bug of coaching, but I didn't know what I really wanted to do in life. Came back to the States, did not have a job, and picked up the bartending thing on the Upper East Side, kind of bounced around. I was lucky enough where a couple friends of mine had invested in a couple bars, so it was easy employment, and I got a job with the NLL working for the Indoor League in New York City and bartending at night, and just realized like a couple years into it that it wasn't for me. But the only way to survive really was to bartend, and went back to Chaminade, and that's really where the coaching thing took off. But as we all know, the financial piece of that is not good enough to supplement your income. So
Yeah.
I needed bartending, and I think it's allowed me to. I'm a people person in general, but it's allowed me to be able to interact with different people at different phases, and more natural, I guess.
Now, with you bartending, what did you learn from bartending? How did he bring it to coaching?
Yeah, it's all about the person that you're serving. No story is dismissible. Everybody's story is important, and making them feel just as important and appreciated is how you make money.
Yeah.
And it's very applicable to coaching and recruiting. Being able to step into a living room and meet somebody for the first time and make it as comfortable as possible is the key to recruiting, I think, and telling your story and your university story.
So with being a social guy, what is one key skill or one thing that you do that separates yourself from the others?
Oh man, that's a great question. That's a tough one. There's so many great people out here. I think you just got to be authentic. You got to be yourself. It's very easy to turn on the TV and see how, just to use Coach Belichick acts, and then apply it yourself because you think that's the way. But it's very quickly figured out that that's not how this thing works. The players know you, your parents know you. They're talking about your team, that is, and you just got to be true to yourself. And I think it. We work hard. We're on the road a lot. You interact with people at different various places, hotels. They quickly find out who you are.
One of my favorite things to do is to reflect on my past. And when you look back, do you see yourself being in this position?
No, never. I mean, it certainly was a pipe dream. I remember being in high school and going to the championship games at that time. They're at Rutgers or Maryland. And, fast forward now, I'm in the stadium myself as a coach. And no, never in my wildest dreams, not even as a coach. I figured I would go back to my alma mater, Mary Washington, one day, be a head coach. And, life wasn't the way it worked out. And I'm thankful for all the twists and turns it took, and the people I've met.
Let's head over to Notre Dame now.
Yeah.
What was it like your first year on campus when you moved from Navy to Notre Dame?
Yeah. So full disclosure, I'm a Subway Notre Dame fan. I grew up passionately rooting for Notre Dame football at all times, and to be able to be there was pretty awesome. I tell my kids every time we go to a football game, which is every Saturday, that I went to my first Notre Dame football game when I was working at Stevens, and it was like walking into the Mecca. Now I'm bringing my kids to the football games every weekend, and how lucky they are. They don't appreciate it right now. One day they hopefully will. But we grew up watching Notre Dame football on Saturdays at my grandparents'. It was the only thing on TV at that time. Not that I'm that old, but it was on NBC, which is free before the streaming thing, and it's pretty awesome. And honestly, the mission, the ethos of the universities, Naval Academy and Notre Dame, are very similar. It's very community-based, strong sense of patriotism and pride of their university. And, to be able to work at two of America's iconic universities in the Naval Academy and Notre Dame has been pretty awesome.
What a guy Ryan Wellner is. Going from bartender to coach is something that you would never expect, but you can definitely see how those skills are transferable from being a bartender to being a coach, hence why he's as sociable as he is. And by the way, Wellner, that hat you were wearing was awesome. This hat's kind of dope, but that hat was also a very nice one. So into the next game we go. We're going into the 2026 bracket. This game was the Loggerheads versus the Sixers here. Now, Loggerheads starting off strong with a nice little goal and finish there, but don't let that fool you. The Sixers took control of this game all the way through. Now, this face dodge right here, you guys gotta really appreciate this face dodge. Look, there's not enough love. That's what's wrong with these kids these days. Not giving enough love for a move like that. The defender approaches so hard, but gets juked out and his knee touches the ground here. This energy was the same for the rest of the game here. Sixers controlled this one all the way through. Now, I speak about the talent of these kids right now, and watch what you're about to see and a few highlights here. This finish, come on, around the world? Around the world. We're talking about Spain, Japan, China, because we're going all the way around the world. And another cannon. Watching these Sixers play is like watching Showtime. You know what we're going to call these Sixers right now? We're going to call them the Showtime Sixers. Guys, I might have just came up with something for you guys. The Showtime Sixers. The Showtime Sixers take this one away from the Loggerheads 8-4. Now, there also were some club directors here. I wanted to speak to some club directors. One particularly was James Leary from 3D Georgia. James is a UVM catamount, a legend. He's one of the best defenders in UVM history, and I just had to make sure I said that because I want you kids to recognize how good some of your coaches were when they were playing. Maybe they might not say it, but they were legit here. And I got the pleasure to sit down with James and talk to him about what it's like being the director of 3D Georgia. All right, guys, I'm here with 3D Georgia director James Leary. James, how we doing today?
Doing great, man. How about yourself?
I'm good. I cannot complain. I'm excited to have you here at the Pinnacle Lacrosse Championship. Man, Vermont Catamount. Yo, do these kids recognize how real you were in college?
Nah, not at all. Not at all.
So if I'm right, what is it, 69 caused turnovers in your career?
Correct. Program record.
Program record, and these kids better recognize.
You know, sometimes suit up for practice. Coaches get in the mix. We always talk about coaches getting reps. Helps things be fun, be elite. But even when we suit up, you know, I got a bunch of guys that suit up from time to time, and it's all about having fun and showing the kids what they could be doing. But still, there's always some good banter back and forth. We appreciate that.
James, how'd you get involved with 3D Georgia?
Yeah, so I was a long-time 3D player. I played for the very first 3D New England team growing up in Massachusetts and New Hampshire. Played for the very first 3D New England team years ago. As soon as I stopped playing, as soon as I aged out, every summer of my college career, I came back to Boston and was an intern with 3D New England, coached more and more, got involved as soon as I could, and really just found a passion for coaching. Mm-hmm. You know, I love helping kids take a next step. I love the smile when a kid does something that they didn't think that they could do. So had internships through college in New England, and my senior year of college, 3D offered me a manager role in 5 different markets around the country. I could have stayed in New England, but ultimately wanted to forge my own path a little bit, do something different. I knew Georgia lacrosse was coming up, and obviously a lot of athletes, and it was an opportunity to do something new that, you know, I have a bunch of buddies that still live in Boston, and that's cool. I can always go back there, but to go down and do something new and different was really an interesting opportunity. So jumped at that, moved down 2 weeks out of college, didn't even unpack my gear or anything, just left in the car, drove down, and haven't looked back. Took over the program as the director in 2020, COVID summer. Great time to take over a lacrosse program.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, have loved it since then. You know, the kids have been awesome. The families are awesome. The investment that the families make from a time and effort and energy standpoint, you know, it's awesome to see. And again, that's why I think the game has grown so much down there.
I'm curious though, where do you see a difference in the athlete in the Northeast versus Georgia?
Sure. It's interesting for me is the perspective of both. I got some coaches down that, in Georgia that coach me that they would tell you for sure without a doubt, and I somewhat see the similar play style of, the Northeast kids are usually smaller, but very skilled, high IQ, that sort of thing, versus the Southern kids, we're working on the IQ, working on the stick skills, but have the athleticism, have the size, have the speed, the raw talent. And that's where, again, we find that ability to really dive in and lean in on the stick skill side, on the IQ side, and helping those kids be able to play faster, right? The way the game's going, the shot clock side of things. Helping those kids just be able to read, react, and play fast is what we're trying to do.
So what's the most difficult thing about growing the game in the South?
It's a great question. Facilities.
Yeah.
There's obviously a million football fields out there, but, finding and being able to have field space is always something that is a constant battle. Trying to fight the soccer, the football, the whatever other sports is not always the easiest, but I would say that that's a huge piece. Outside of that, again, I think that lacrosse is just continuing to grow down in the South, right? More people are understanding what it's about. I think the other piece is you have more parents now that have moved down that actually played, which was, I think vastly different from what it's been. The amount of parents in my program that are like, man, I wish I could have played. I wish that lacrosse was a thing when I was growing up. So it's really cool in that regard. And, once families see it, once parents understand the game a little bit, they're all about it, and the kids love it too.
That mustache is giving me great energy, bro. How long did that take you to grow?
Great question. I get that asked a lot. It's more of a maintenance thing. I just trim it now to keep it relatively clean. It's a little loose right now, just trying to get through the season here, but we'll have to trim it up for family Thanksgiving.
And ever since that interview with James, the only thing that's been on my mind is if I should grow that mustache, right? I'm able to grow the perfect facial hair, I connect my beard, I'm looking good, but that mustache just hits different there. So maybe I want to do it, maybe I don't want to do it. I got to review it with my girl and stuff, but that's for another topic. It was awesome talking to James. What a guy he is. 3D is in good hands with James being at the helm of it. Now, getting into some more lacrosse action, we're going to get into the 27 AA bracket. This game was between Charleston Elite versus Iron Horse Dallas here. Now, a defensive battle here, but Charleston Elite did their thing, holding it down, and what a shot right there. Getting top side, putting it away is what we love to see. This ball movement right here, phenomenal, right? You just show that. Show that to your team. Show that to your boys, because that's poetry in motion. Charleston Elite ended up taking this one away from Iron Horse Dallas, 5-2-2. All right, guys. So one of my favorite things to do at a lacrosse tournament is, of course, hanging out at the Vendor Village. You know why I like hanging out with the Vendor Village? Because they got great food. And your boy loves some food. But first, I got to check out Bar Down. I got to check out some Ions. You guys should see the new colors that the Ions are coming out with. And I also got to get a little nostalgic here with a slushie. My first time having a slushie in I don't know how long, but it was my first time getting a brain freeze, and I don't know how long. And brain freezes, don't forget about it. They hurt. I couldn't even stand up straight for a little bit. But let's freeze the moment and get into some rankings here. You see what I did right there? Let's get into it here. For the 31s and 32 rankings, at 4th place, we have True Carolina, 3, Old Bay Lacrosse, 2, Blatant National White, and in 1st, 3D Georgia. For the 31 standings, in 5th, we got 3D Georgia Red, 4th, Stealth Black Ops, 3, Snipers Lacrosse, 2, Iron Horse Dallas Mongoose, 1, MBX Lacrosse. For the 2030s, in 5th, we have FLC Black, and 4th, Eclipse, 3, Snipers Lacrosse, 2, Lax Mafia Full Send, and 1, 3D Georgia Red. For the 29s AA, in 5th, Team 91 Georgia, 4th, Texas Lone Stars, 3, True Illinois, 2, FLC, and in 1, MBX Lacrosse. For the 28th AA standings, we've got True Utah State in 5th place, 4 Advanced PNW, 3 LCO White, 2 Project Missouri, 1 3D Georgia, 28 Red. For the 28 single A, we got Shred Thread National White, love that name, 3 FLC, 2 Nashville Elite, and 1 Cap City. For the 27 AA, in 5th we have Advanced PNW, 4 LCO Blue, 3 Barnstormers, 2 Sixers, and 1 3D Georgia. For the 27 single A, the Shred Thread National White in 5th, 4 True Sunbelt, 3 3D Georgia, 2 Shred Thread National Blue, 1 Cap City. For the 26's AA, 5 IMG 26, 4 3D Georgia Black, 3 Sixers, 2 Stealth Black Ops, and 1 True National Black. And the 26 AA, we've got 5 Blatant National, 4 FLC, 3 Legacy Georgia, 2 True National White, and 1 Main Select. For the 25s and 5th, the Lacrosse School Rotten Apples. What a name once again. 4 LG Select, 3 Brady's Bunch, 2 Loggerheads, 1 IMG. And those are your rankings at the end of day 1 here, guys. We've got a great event going on here in Naples, Florida. As you guys can see, we've got college coaches, we've got vendors, and we've got a high level of lacrosse talent, and that's going to continue tomorrow. So make sure you guys stay tuned to watch Game Day Experience powered by US Club Lacrosse. It's your boy, Lax Guy Scotty, signing off of day 1 at the PLCs.